This is the new Bluetti Elite 300, and it is the world's smallest 3,000 watt hour power station. Behind me, I have a completely redesigned solar system that we have done in our camper van build. As you can see, we are actually redoing essentially the whole build, which I'm really excited. I've been working on it for a long time now. The solar system I have behind me has 400 amp hours of lithium iron phosphate battery capacity, a 3,000 watt inverter, a ton of wiring, a DC to AC distribution panel, fuses. It is a lot, and this can actually replace all of it, and it comes in at a way cheaper price. Bluetti has been doing such a good job with these power stations that you could literally buy one of these and not even have to worry about doing all the wiring, the fuses, the inverter charger, the battery, because all of that adds up to a ton of cost, whereas this is a much simpler solution. For people like me who already have a system like this and need this much power, I would love to integrate this into my system, and that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do today. I'm going to be using a pigtail. I'm going to be cutting off one end, and I'm going to be utilizing one of these 120 volt outlets. This is going to be connected to my inverter charger to charge my main battery. And then I'm going to be installing the power cable that charges this battery directly into my DC to AC distribution panel. And what that is going to allow me to do is charge up my main battery when I need an extra boost if I'm running low. And this 3,000 watt power station actually has 250 amp hours of 12 volt capacity. That is going to bring my system to a total of 650 amp hours. Unfortunately, the way that I'm doing this, which is the downside, I'm converting the power from 12 volt to 120 volt and then back down to 12 volt. I know it isn't the most efficient way, but it's going to be really easy for me to just plug this in and then remove it if I don't need it, or remove it and charge it elsewhere if I'm running low on capacity and can't find a place to plug in the van. If you want it to be a little more efficient on your power conversion, you could also try to utilize this XT90 30 amp 12 volt connection that is part of this unit. This is an awesome plug that Bluetti included. A lot of their power stations actually don't have this. I tried to connect this to my solar and it didn't kick enough voltage for my solar controller to work properly. Unfortunately, I could potentially connect it to the alternator side of my DC to DC charger, but I didn't want that to affect the starter battery on the vehicle. If you wanted to utilize this in your system, you could purchase a separate DC to DC charger and that would probably work. Another outlet that is included is the 30 amp connection to power RVs. We don't use 30 amps or require it for our setup, but it's really nice to have this option just in case. The other thing I'm really excited about is I no longer have to bring a generator. I don't have to worry about filling up with gas. I don't have to worry about the noise. It was just super irritating. And this is about half the size of our generator and it makes no noise, which is going to be so nice. Nobody wants to use these. My guess is this won't even start because the gas is old and I need to replace it, but let's see. This is the size difference. See, nothing. Old gas won't start. Don't even have to worry about that with the Bluetti. I should probably change the oil and service this thing. The other thing I'm going to utilize this for is our water heater and our Starlink. So I can remotely monitor this, turn on the AC, turn on the DC, all from the app. So I don't have to come back here and play with the buttons at all, which will be really nice. If you just wanted to install this power station without having all this behind me, you would still need an AC to DC distribution panel for all your DC wiring or a DC fuse block. And you would also need the Bluetti Charger 2 to be able to recharge this quickly from the alternator. All right, so step one is just gonna be cutting off this end of the pigtail that I purchased and stripping it back. Oh, let's see. About there. And then these connections are going to go directly into my input on my inverter charger so that I can draw power from the power station. Green goes to ground, clamp that guy down, white neutral, that guy down, and black. And then we will plug this guy directly into that AC in. This is actually just the charging cable for the power station itself. And this is my AC-DC distribution panel there's actually a single outlet on the back of this. It comes built into it. This is an awesome unit, but I have already connected this and plugged it into the outlet on the back of this panel just to make it easy to plug in and out. So what we can do here is actually just plug this into the side here. So let's test it out. I also want to plug it into shore power and see what happens to make sure that this charges up. And I'm very interested to see how it works. Okay, so I've turned on my battery, I've turned on my AC inverter charger there, and the last thing that I need to do is flick these breakers, and boom. This is at 100%, but it just came on because I believe it thinks that it is being charged here. I'm just going through and adding this unit to the app. Go start, 300 Bluetooth. I turned it on and I was getting an error within the power station. Actually, it was saying grid oscillation. So basically, if I want to charge it, I'm just going to have to only keep one of these plugged in at a time. Right now, I'm charging this from my battery supply. And if I wanted to hook up to shore power would kick on and then it would be charging my battery as well as the power station, which is perfect. But as soon as I plug this one in, the system is smart enough to realize that it's just in an oscillated power grid and the power is just like moving in a circle essentially, even though the AC isn't on, which is really interesting. It's almost at 99%, so we're charging at 121 watts. But if I go ahead and unplug this guy and then plug this guy in to charge my battery, turn the AC on, you can hear my battery charger click on there from the inverter charger, and we are charging at 750 watts. So that is good to know. So if you're thinking about integrating this into an existing solar system like I have behind me, just know that you'll have to manage the plugs a little bit. I thought I wouldn't have to do that. I thought I could simply just turn the AC on and off, but this is just such an awesome power station. It's really small and compact, although it is heavy. Like, you're not going to be moving this a lot around. Another thing that's really nice about this is if I want to extend my solar system and add some solar panels, like some folding ones, I could super easily just lay them out beside the van, plug them into the DC input here, and it has up to 1200 watts of solar capabilities, which is a ton. I can also utilize all these DC outlets for anything in the back of my van. If I'm working with power tools, if I'm blowing up air mattresses, campgrounds, things like that. It's really nice that this is somewhat portable so I can move it around, unlike my main setup behind me. So I just plugged everything back in to see what would happen. And even though it is throwing that error code, it's still charging just fine right now. Like, I turned the AC off and I plugged that one in, and it's pulling 180 watts. So it'll still charge. It'll just throw that error code saying that it's oscillating. I'll have to see how that works out in the future, but it still functions properly. And this is essentially the best part. So all I have to do to remove the power station, unplug this guy, and I can simply pull it out and take it with me. Chuck it back in when I need some extra power, plug this in, and I'm good to go. If you guys are in the market for a portable power station, this is fantastic value for what it offers. The capacity and having a 2400 watt inverter is really impressive, especially in this size. You feel it with the weight, but Bluetti has done a fantastic job at keeping this really compact. If you guys have any questions about this power station, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I am stoked that I no longer have to bring along a generator with me. This will provide more than enough capacity for our system, especially with a hot water heater, and I'm going to be adding a air conditioner to the roof of the van now. This is perfect for us. Also, if you guys are purchasing any Bluetti products, be sure to use the discount code MADE2TRAVEL and you'll get an extra discount when you go to checkout. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.